Welcome back to the Urban Farmyard, where this city girl goes country. In today's video, I'm sharing my tips for framing artwork. Hi guys, well if there are two things I love in this world, one is animals and the second is artwork. I have a home that is completely full of artwork, so much so I really need to be living in an art gallery rather than in a house. Now, custom framing can be incredibly expensive and it's something that I very rarely do. Instead, I frame all of my own artwork largely off the shelf, and there are a few tips and tricks that I have learned along the way to turn your ordinary prints or ordinary pieces of artwork into something quite spectacular that looks like a custom framed piece of artwork. Over the lockdown, I bought a beautiful, inexpensive print. It was a little something to commemorate this crazy time that we have all been through together, and she arrived as soon as the lockdown ended. So today we are going to take her out and we're going to frame her. Now, when most people frame artwork at home, I know that they tend to just go and buy a frame that is the same size as their piece of artwork, and that's the first mistake. To make a beautiful piece of artwork look like it's custom framed, the trick is to increase the size of the frame substantially. I feel like artwork needs space to breathe, it needs a good perimeter around the edge, and it needs a really good oversized frame. So what I'm going to do with this piece of artwork is I've chosen a frame that's around 4 times bigger than the piece of artwork itself. Now, fortunately, I had a frame here already. This is a frame that had previously been used to frame my annual planner. Now that I no longer need an annual planner on my wall, I've decided to repurpose it for this particular girl. Now, this particular frame is one that I simply bought off the shelf a number of years ago. In New Zealand, the place I choose to go to is a company in Auckland called Factory Frames. They absolutely do custom framing, but they have a huge number of off-the-shelf frames that you can just grab and go. Now, having chosen my frame, or in this case chosen a frame to repurpose, I now need to get a mat cart, and that's my next secret to making artwork look as though it's custom framed. You can go into most framing shops, and rather than getting them to do the full framing process, you can get them to just cut a mat to suit your piece of artwork and to suit the frame that you've chosen. In this case, I have chosen a beautiful black mat. It's not just black, it is black suede. It is absolutely gorgeous. Now, the little bit of texture on this mat is really going to elevate this piece of artwork and make it look truly beautiful. This is the first time that I've actually done black on black on black. I usually frame in white on white, so white frame and white mat, but this girl has got such beautiful black contrasting pieces in the piece of artwork that I decided to go dark with this one. So all I did is I took in the frame and I took in the piece of artwork and I asked the framer to cut a mat to fit both. Now, this was a really inexpensive process. Usually you can get a mat cut for under $10. In this particular case, it was more expensive because this is an enormous oversized frame and the suede board was a lot more expensive. But all up, I think it cost me about 35 New Zealand dollars to have this mat cut. So all that's left now is to take these bits and pieces back and get her framed. Let's go do it. The first thing I'm going to do is remove this hardware. This frame was originally positioned in a landscape orientation, and this particular picture that I'm going to hang today is portrait, so I need to switch that up to the other end. So let's take that up for a start. Next thing I'm going to do is take my Mrs. Meyer's multi-surface spray. Basically, I don't have any glass cleaner at the moment, so we're going to have to use a multi-surface cleaner. And I'm going to use my Mrs. Meyer's spray with a Norwex cloth, and we're going to give this glass a really good clean. This particular frame has been stored for a while now, and it is absolutely filthy. So let's get in and give it a really good wipe. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start by going in a circular motion, and then I'm going to go straight up and down. By going up and down, it better enables me to see where any streaks are still lurking. The next thing I'm going to do is tape this picture into the mat that I had cut for this particular frame. Now I should really be using an acid-free tape for this, but I don't have any, so I'm going to use the next best thing, which I have on hand, which is washi tape. Line her up like so, and we're just going to tape along the top. And I'm just going to flip this over and hold it upright so I can check that she is nice and straight. Alright, now that she's lined up, I am going to just tape along the bottom as well so that she sits nice and flat in the frame. Here we go. All right, let's flip her over again. Now, this is a beautiful suede mat, which is utterly gorgeous, but it does mean that it's inclined to attract fur. So what I'm going to do is just give it a quick roll over with a lint roller to remove any dust that has accumulated. It's looking pretty good, and we're going to flip her over and slip her inside the frame. There we go. All that's left to do now is to put the backing board on. And push the little pins back over. Alright, I'm going to flip her over and we are going to clean the glass on the other side. Alright, and we'll flip her back so that we can reattach the hanging hardware. So to hang it, I'm just using a little sawtooth hanger and two tiny little nails. Now that that frame's all put together, it's time to go and hang her. I'm going to remove our existing piece of artwork from the wall she's going to go on. I'm going to shift the picture hanger across and we're going to see how she looks. So there we have it, one beautiful piece of framed artwork. It only cost me $35 all up, and it truly does look as though it's been custom framed. I hope you've enjoyed today, and I'll see you back here tomorrow.